What's going on, guys? Dusty here, All Around Performance. Today this is going to be a longer video, but it's a good one. I think it's super important if you ever buy a dirt bike or if you buy a Kayo electric dirt bike. I'm going to walk you through the entire process. Today is all about sag adjustment. What is sag? Sag is going to be a setting that's on your rear spring that you actually adjust when the bike is not on the ground, which is like this, compared to when you and all your gear is sitting on the ground. How far down does the bike settle? The sag controls how much pressure is on the front tire when you go through corners. If you find that your front end is just washing out in the corners all the time, or if the bike steers too slow or too fast, it's actually controlled with your sag. If you have any questions, guys, just put a link in a comment. I'll do my best to get back to you on that. But for this bike right here, I'm actually going to show you how I set sag in my experience of my life. I've been racing dirt bikes my whole life. I've been a race mechanic my whole life. So I've been to Loretta Lynn's, Mini-O's, I've been arena crosses, supercrosses, motocross nationals. I've raced enduros, sprint enduros, GNCCs for years. I just know a lot about suspension. So I'm about to ride this bike today and I want to set it up for me. So I'm going to walk you through how I do it. So the first thing you notice is that this bike is on a stand and it's completely off the ground. I'm going to have you come around here. The first thing I like to do is I like to measure from where the front sprocket is to where the axle is. And the reason why I do that, I'll show you why in a second. We're about 26 inches. What I like to do is I like to measure up here in a vertical to 26 inches because this is where your swing arm is physically moving, okay? So if I go from the center of that sprocket up here to 26 inches, I like to just make a mark on my fender, a little bit on the lower side. You guys notice this is a brand new bike, by the way. We're gonna ride this thing. But that right there is going to be where I like to take my sag adjustment from. You don't wanna go vertical, because the suspension doesn't go that way. You want to go the same distance from that sprocket because that right there is going to be where it's moving. So that's a good rule of thumb for me. That's where I like to control this thing. That'll kind of give you swing, okay? My sag tool that I use, I like to use, I have a specific sag tool that I like to use. It's digital. It comes with a buddy that you can actually magnetize to your handlebars. But if you guys want to buy this digital sag tool, let me know. I can ship this thing straight to you because we own a dealership. So the one it's called a Modal Tool digital. Coming back into this, it's called the one I like to use is going to be called a Digital Scale Slacker Modal Tool. This is old school. This thing has been super excellent for me. But I put it right on the axle. Once it's on the axle, then I just run it up and I hook it on. And then just make sure it's all lined up. And then you can see that I zero it, okay? So from here, this right here is going to be straight up and down zero, off its ground, okay? So then what we do is we're gonna take this bike off the stand, okay? And it's important that when you get on this bike, that you don't hit that with your foot, okay? Now, normally, if you got some help and there's somebody with you, what you want to do is you want to make sure that there is, I'm gonna have you come up here. What's important is to make sure that if you have somebody with you that helps with this process, but in this case, I don't have anybody helping me, so that's gonna get you started. Also, you want to make sure you know that when you adjust this sag, which I'll tell you what my opinion is on sags, you want to make sure that you compensate for your gear. You want to add some weight, or you want to remove some numbers from this digit because you're going to be heavier on the bike. But it's important that when you check your sag, it's important that you're completely neutral, you're straight up and down, and you're right in front of your body is right over the foot peg. So if you come over here, you notice that my body weight is directly above that foot peg, okay? And then what I do is I just basically tiptoe. I basically just tiptoe to make sure that I have all body weight off. And then I'm gonna have the camera person tell me what that number is. The number is 104. Okay, so that's actually almost pretty good. So I personally, so that's 104. You wanna be about 105 plus or minus 5, depending on what you like. Okay, now keep in mind that I'm about 20 pounds short because I'm not wearing any of my gear, which is my helmet, my gloves, my goggles, my boots, my leg braces, all that stuff. So this number is actually going to go up to about 108 with all of my gear on plus mud, right? So for me, that's a little bit soft. So I'm going to show you how to tighten that up. Okay. By the way, this is how I put dirt bikes on stands. Okay. So to start off with, you can stay on that side. Ordinary to get to the adjustment on this bike, you have to take the seat off and you have to take the battery out. I already was in here. I already loosened some stuff up to make it simpler, but I'll show you. The battery, if I pull this back, all you do is you unhook the battery with this lever. You have to remove the main power cord, and then you have to pull this big battery out. Once the battery's out, if you look down in here, you'll see that this right here is where the spring adjustment is for the bike. Now, I already loosened this. This one on top is your locker, and the one below it is going to be for the actual spring tension. Now, I like to put a mark on there. I like to put a mark on this bottom ring, not this one. I like to put a mark on this bottom ring. I'll have you pull it out. I like to put a mark on that ring because every rotation when you screw that ring all the way around is approximately, depending on the bike and the spring pressure and the width of the ring, is 4 millimeters of sag. I know that I want to be about 100. I'm a very aggressive rider. I ride over the handlebars. I will be riding this thing in turbo. I've raced expert, borderline pro, but I ended up starting a business, as you know. So this thing, I like to ride it right around 100. Now, some guys, they like it at 105 because they like to have it a little bit softer, but I am a forward rider. I am an over-the-bars rider. If I was a regular rider that likes to sit down a lot, which I don't, then 105 is good. And if you just want a plush ride, then 110. But if you're going to run 110, know that your front end is going to be very sloppy. It's going to be loose, and it's going to wash out easily. So just know that. So for me, knowing that I don't have my gear on, knowing that I'm at 104, and knowing that I want to be at 100, I'm going to go 2 full turns on that. And there's tools that you can buy. You can buy spanner wrenches to physically turn that top nut. I sometimes just like to use a hammer and a soft brass punch. And sometimes you can actually just rotate it. So the first thing I'm going to do before I even get tools, I can just rotate it. That's because the bike's brand new. I'm excited about that. But before I rotate it, you guys are going to watch me do this, so I'm going to go right through it. I'm actually just going to make a mark so I can see this thing. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate that 2 times around. And then what we're going to do is we are going to come back to the video. I don't think I'm going to pause it because I don't feel like editing this video. I know you guys like your editing. Sometimes, see, you just put your hand on the nut on top, and then you put your hand on the spring. You can rotate it all at once. Ow! Don't get your thumb in there because it'll bite you. Oh, wow, just past 2 turns. Okay, so that's 2 turns. Bring that down. I'm put my battery back in. You guys got to make sure you put your battery back in because that's part of the weight, right? That's like, it's part of the weight. You have to make sure your battery's in. We're going to put this back on. I want to know what your guys' sag is. What do you guys like to run for sag? Those of you who know what I'm talking about, what's your sag? I personally have been running 100 with all my GNCCs because you do a lot of bobbing and weaving through the woods. Motocross, I like 105 to 104. My 250Fs, I like 100. My 450s, I like 105. What's your sag? All right, I'm resetting that. So right now we're at 0. It's on the stand. We're going to take this off, set it down gently, okay? Pull up my pants because I'm getting old. All right. All right. I like to bounce a couple times just to make sure. Rock back and forth. And then, cameraman, what's that number? 94. What'd I tell you? That's close. I went 2 full turns and it went 8, 10. It went 10, which is fine because I think that I like to do it 3 or 4 times just to make sure, but I'm only gonna do it a couple more times. What's that? 92. And what's that? What is it? 92. So I'm gonna tell you that that is slightly too far. So I'm gonna go half a turn back to get me back to like 96. That's where I wanna be approximately. Know that if you have somebody with you, the best way to do this is to have your friend hold the front of the bike and stand up and do it on the foot pegs. If you're a lot of a stand-up rider, then I recommend doing it standing up. If you like doing a lot of sit down, then make sure you check your sag sitting down. It makes a big difference. Cool. All right, guys. If you have any questions about what I've done, if you want a link to that tracker, I'll put it in the description below. You can actually have it drop shipped straight from our store. We can actually ship you this. If you're interested in this bike, we're doing lots of modifications to this. We're planning on down the road putting our own springs in it. We're planning on playing with the clickers, the adjusters. We're gonna go to the track today and we're gonna play with the clickers. We're gonna play with all the different suspension settings, power settings. So go to YouTube, look up our stuff. OnlyOutDoorPerformance.com. Can you get more information, guys? Thanks for watching. Give us a like, give us a share, comment below if you have any questions. Have a great day. OutDoorPerformance.com. See you later.